Hey guys, so as we all know, Jake and Rebecca are due to appear in court on October 16th and on the 28th. So I just want to do a little bit more of who's at fault because apparently I missed a transcript or two. So I'm going to read that to you guys. And let's not forget what happened the first time, okay? Let's not let the district attorney in the whole Riverside County gaslight us into thinking that the judge was purely at fault here, because that is not the case. Okay? He is not the only one that was accountable for this, okay? Because they had multiple chances of getting this guy behind bars and they did not, okay? Let's just start there. If you guys don't remember, Judge Dwight Moore sentenced Jake Haro to 4 years probation, right? And he only served 1 day in jail, and he was ordered to do a work release program as well as parent counseling for abusers. And let's remind everybody of why Jake didn't actually go to prison, okay? First of all, the district attorney's job is to bring the right charges in front of the judge, right? And the district attorney undercharged Jake Haro, okay? The California Penal Code 273 AB, right? He should have been charged Penal Code 273 AB with great bodily injury enhancement clause on there. And it's not, right? And that is why Jake Haro was able to plea to the judge. That is why the judge was able to suspend his prison time, okay? That is why he was given probation, okay? And he undercharged Jake Haro, but he could have stopped the judge and say, "Hey, hold on a minute. We're amending we're amending the charges, and we are actually going to add great bodily injury into the charge so that he couldn't walk away free." Now, had he been charged right the first time, he would have been sent to prison 25 years to life, but he would have had a possibility of parole because he had beaten Baby Promise so bad that he caused her to be paralyzed. Okay? And I'm going to read you guys California Penal Code 273 AB. Okay? And it says right here, it says California Penal Code 273 AB, current as of January 1st, 2024. A. Any person having the care or custody of a child who is under 8 years of age, who assaults the child by means of force that to reasonable person would be likely to produce great bodily injury resulting in the child's death, shall be punished by imprisonment in the state prison for 25 years to life. Nothing in this section shall be construed as affecting the applicability of subdivision A of section 187 or section 189. B. Any person having the care or custody of a child who is under 8 years of age, who assaults the child means of force that to a reasonable person would be likely to produce great bodily injury, resulting in the child becoming comatose due to brain injury or suffering paralysis of a permanent nature, shall be punished by imprisonment in the state of prison for life with the possibility of parole, as used in the subdivision quote unquote paralysis means a major or complete loss of motor function resulting from injury to the nervous system or to a muscular mechanism. Okay, so I read you guys the California Penal Code. He caused her to be paralyzed for life. For life. Okay, so why wasn't he charged? California Penal Code 273AB with the clause of great bodily injury. This would have been automatic 25 years to life prison sentence. Judge Moore wouldn't have been able to give him probation. He wouldn't have been able to suspend his prison sentence. Jake Haro pleaded to the judge because he knew that the district attorney, the district attorney's office undercharged him. That is why he was able to get away with what he got away with. You guys, he spent one day in jail. And not only that, right? He broke probation on, what is it, in July of 2024. I'm gonna check, but I'm gonna correct myself if I'm wrong. But he broke probation in July of 2024, and he broke it by having a firearm and ammunition on him. Okay, so why? Tell me why, right? He went to court over and over and over again, right? He went to court over and over and over again. And why was he not put in prison? Why was he not put in prison? Because remember, you got to remember, the judge said, this is a hammer over your head. You break this probation, you're going straight to prison, 6 years. And then he asked him, do you understand that? And Jake Haro says, yes. Okay, so tell me why, after he broke probation, why is he not in prison, right? Because had he had been in prison after breaking probation, this would have never happened to baby Emmanuel. The district attorney, should have brought in his probation officer, and he should have had talked to the judge and told the judge that, hey, this guy broke his probation, he needs to go to prison. So why wasn't that done? Right? I completely forgot to add this yesterday, and so I'm gonna read it to you guys. This is one of the transcripts that I forgot. Okay, it says, Mr. Taloa, Your Honor, I would just ask for the record to reflect that the people are objecting to this, and this is based on the severity of the injuries, as we discussed, to the victim. And our offer was, in fact, prison for this case. The court, understood. Mr. Taloa, thank you. The court, I acknowledge that when I said it was a plea to the court, and the people aren't joining in it. I appreciate that. Under the circumstances, I think this is appropriate, and we have hung a very large hammer over the defendant's head. If he violates, he'll end up going to prison for a lot longer than if I had taken the DA's deal. I'm giving you a chance. Don't mess it up. Good luck. Mr. Sarmiento says, thank you, Your Honor. Defendant says, thank you. The court says, thank you. Proceedings adjourned. And this is what SF Investigate says, okay? He says the district attorney's office objected to the sentencing of Jake Haro and stated on the record that their offer included a prison term, prison being defined as more than 1 year, whereas jail is less than 1 year. The DA's office did not sign the sentencing agreement. Mr. Taloa appeared on behalf of the DA's office while Mr. Sarmiento was filling in for Jake Haro's regular attorney, Vincent Hughes. Okay, so he objected to the sentencing that the judge had sentenced him to, but he still did not amend the charge. He did not say, hey, he is actually being undercharged and we need to make changes to the charges because of the severity of the abuse, and it resulted to Promise being paralyzed for life. I think he should be charged with great bodily injury. And I'm going to read you guys this. This is the transcript from SF Investigate. So I thank him. I forgot to read this, okay, because I did not have an X account. So I had to make myself an X account and see what I actually missed because I did miss some transcripts. Okay, so I'm going to read you guys. This is what one of the transcripts said. The court. All right, then on that basis, probation is denied. Based on the defendant's stipulation and the plea agreement with the court, the defendant is sentenced to the aggravated term of 6 years in state prison. I want you to let that sink in for a minute. I just sentenced you 6 years in state prison. I will then suspend execution of that sentence and place you on supervised probation for a period of 4 years. But if you violate your probation, you've already been sentenced to 6 years in prison. There will be no argument about, well, that's too much. Maybe we should give him less. No, you've already been sentenced to 6 years. Do you understand that? Jake Haro says, I do, Your Honor. So, right there, he tells you, you're already sentenced to 6 years. You break your probation, you're going back to prison. You're going to prison. No ifs, no buts, right? So, Jake Haro, Jake Haro went to court over and over and over and over again, and the district attorney allowed him to keep getting continuances after continuances and continuances. Maybe they had a busy calendar, but aren't you aren't you responsible to get this justice for baby Promise? Aren't you responsible for getting this guy out of the free world? Right? So for you, I'm sorry, and I mean this respectfully, okay? For you to stand there during a press conference and blame this all on the judge when you could have repeatedly, over and over again, stopped him from walking away. You guys, that's crazy work. He's gaslighting us, you guys. He's gaslighting us to thinking, hey, this is all the judge's fault. This isn't our fault. He wants the light away from him, you guys. He doesn't want blame for it. He wants it all on the judge. Because he's the one that sentenced him. He's the one that sentenced him 6 years, right? And he's the one that suspended everything. Okay, and not only that, right? Not only was he able to walk away over and over again, he was approved bail in 2024, you guys. When he was arrested and went to court, he was approved a $10,000 bail and he was able to walk away. Somebody had to approve that $10,000 bail, right? Let me hold on 1 second. So he paid what, 10% of 10,000 is $1,000. So he paid $1,000 and walked off, right? Who Let me ask you something, right? Jake Haro had a lot of workers' comp claims, right? Where did he get that money? Who gave him this money? Because he was approved bail, right? Where did he get this money from? Because I don't think he worked, did he? Did he work? I don't know. He was supposed to do a worker. I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. But where did he get that money from, right? And like, what is his probation officer doing? Like, are you really keeping tabs on him? Because you should have known, right? Because okay, and I'm gonna thank Donna Wolf here, one of my commenters. Thank you so much for helping me with this, pointed this out, because in July, the phone records, right? In July of 2024, he broke probation, right? I'm just gonna read one of the things that she said, okay? She said, I checked my research notes and your info. So, when the Riverside Sheriff's Department went to Jake Haro's home on July 16th of 2024 for some type of assistance call, the 2-year-old girl was living in the home at the time, and she was 11 months old at the time. On June 27th of 2024, about 2 weeks prior, Jake had been arrested and thrown into jail for violating his probation and committing 2 new felonies for being a felon in possession of firearm and ammunition. And on July 2nd of 2024, Jake posted the $60,000 bail from the new unnamed judge who granted the bail and released him from jail. And the district attorney did not file an objection with the court, nor did they oppose Jake receiving the bail. So what all this means is the Riverside Sheriff Department failed to report this to CPS as child endangerment, and not only did their sheriff's deputy who arrested Jake, a mandated reporter, fail to call and report this to CPS. When the Riverside Sheriff's Department went to the home on July 16th, 2024 at 9 p.m., the officers, once again as mandated reporters, failed to call and make a report to CPS that Jake had and just been in possession of a weapon and that he lived in a house with an 11-month-old baby. So now we see 2 failures by the Riverside County Sheriff's Department deputies as mandated reporters. They violated the CANRA laws, the California Child Abuse and Neglect Reporting Act. Okay, and if you guys don't remember, I read the CANRA law on the other video, the very first video I made about who is at fault here. And obviously, over and over again, district attorney's office also failed Promise and baby Emmanuel in this, okay? You have a duty to report everything that is happening with Jake Haro. He should have went straight to prison, you guys. On that CANRA law, right? Everything on there, it's all up to the probation officer to report everything that is happening. And if you didn't watch my first video, let me read you what CANRA is, okay? CANRA is the California Child Abuse and Neglect Reporting Act, a state law that defines child abuse and establishes the procedures for mandated reporters to report suspected cases. This law requires certain professionals, and many others to report abuse or neglect of a child under 18 to the authorities. Okay, the 2-year-old child, she was 11 months old at the time when Jake broke probation. Okay, so with the 11-month-old in the house and he had a firearm and ammunition, that's child endangerment. Okay, he had a willful child cruelty charge on him. So why wasn't this reported to CPS by that probation officer? Why wasn't it reported? Because not only did he not go to prison, he was able to go back he was able to go back home, right? He was able to go back home. He wasn't being visited by CPS. Like this is ridiculous. Okay? That that probation officer had a duty to report what Jake does, and I feel like they failed big time. Make it make sense. So, and then I'm gonna read you guys another thing here that SF Investigate also said. SF Investigate says, I pulled Jake Haro's actual sentencing for viciously beating his child, leaving her permanently incapacitated with only 3% brain function, blind, and unable to care for herself in any capacity. Jake received only a 180-day sentence, but only served 1 day. The judge gave him work release. He was able to go to work and sleep at home. He was only forced to report to jail for 1 day in order to process him. That's what you get in Riverside, California, for essentially beating a child to death. 1 day in county jail. The blood of #Emmanuel Haro is on the DA that agreed to this deal as far as I am concerned. This is outrageous. Just outrageous. And it says right here, referral notice generated RSO work release. Be committed to the custody of the Riverside County Sheriff for 1 day for booking purposes only. Report to nearest Riverside County Jail by June 15th of 2023. Minute order printed to Robert Presley Detention Center. So, he reported just to book. You guys, the district attorney in Riverside is not, they're not innocent. If they had done their job, baby Emmanuel, I mean, wouldn't have been born, or he would have been in prison when he broke that probation. So he would still be alive if he had gone to prison when he should have, right? So we have a lot of questions, right? And I believe this is pure negligence, and I don't know, maybe a little bit of inexperience from the district attorney's side, maybe, or maybe they had too much on calendar that they just want to push out as many cases as they can, being negligent, right? This this error from the justice system caused a life. It caused a life. And had they all done their job right, baby Emmanuel would be alive today. So let's not forget that Sam Toloa did not object to Jake being able to see Promise once a month. Okay, they both agreed to it. Both the district attorney, Sam Toloa, okay, he is from the district attorney's office. Did not he did not object to Jake still being able to see Promise once a month. They both agreed to it. He was still able to have peaceful contact. The whole district of Riverside, or yeah, they failed big time. And don't let them get away with it this time. Remember what he got away with? He used Judge Moore as a scapegoat. And like I said, they are under the spotlight. They are under the spotlight because everything came to light about Jake Haro. That's why they wanted their name cleared. That's why they wanted their name cleared, because they don't want negativity on them. Because now people are gonna make sure they do this right this time, right? Okay, if you guys like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and let me know what you think. Comment in the comments below, share this video to people that need to know the truth. Okay, see you guys. Thank you. And as always, guys, I'm gonna drop the link to the petition for Emmanuel's law down below in the description. So thank you, guys.